I was drifting in the water. I wasn't drowning, but I wasn't floating either. The fair maiden was a good swimmer, and she was doing her best to prevent me from sinking. I could see the shore at the distance, but she was heading to the opposite direction. I tried to tell her, but all I got to do was get salt water in my mouth. I just closed my eyes after that. I surrendered to my fate. I had some bit of hope left when the fair maiden got us to land in the waters safely, but I think my luck has run out. It was now raining again. The sky was dark, but I don't think the day was getting late yet. The storm was coming and we were at sea. The water was cold, but when I got here, I wondered if I stopped thinking that this wasn't a dream and all this was real. The fair maiden asked me, but this time I was back at the cabin. She was putting the chess set we had used back in the shelf where she got in. When I fall in a dream, I always wake up. She asked me if I've fallen since I've got here. It's weird because just a moment ago, I felt like we were stranded in the middle of the sea in the brink of freezing to death. I passed out when we were playing chess, she says. I should have told her that I was tired and she'd just let me rest, she added. The fair maiden tells me a story of a person who came here, like myself, that ran out of the cabin after she offered to play a game of chess with her. She probably thought the fair maiden was death and would kill her if she lost. I asked her if she was death, and I asked her if it was death, and she answered that she'd like to believe that she wasn't. The fact that everyone that came to the cabin dies wasn't her fault, and I would also like to believe that too. The fair maiden gave me a choice on whether I want her along when I go out to get to know the rest of the inhabitants of this place. I wasn't sure. I asked her how she got along with everyone here when she first came, and she goes on her story of how she came into a tavern. There was a shadow puppet performance that just ended. When she arrived, everyone was applauding the puppet masters for the good show they just did. She didn't have any money with her, so she wasn't going to order anything there, but she was hungry since she hadn't eaten all day. Some gamblers were playing poker at the table beside her and got her to join. So after a couple of rounds, she won enough money for her to get a meal, in which she did. She ordered the cheapest thing on the menu, which was vegetable soup with some rice and an omelette. Water was free, so she had that going for her. As she ate her meal, another act was performing. This time it was a duet. The singer-dancer claimed that the song that they were going to play was the oldest known song recorded in history. The instrumentalist provided some backing vocals, but mainly played his fiddle and flute, alternating between the two instruments. The fair maiden didn't understand a single word, but somehow she was able to sing along to it. It was a weird feeling knowing that she hadn't heard the song before, but that she could sing along to it regardless. No one else was paying attention to the song, or so it seems, for the fair maiden. The gamblers were focused with their game, while most of the other customers were starting to leave when the shadow puppet act had finished. The duet did a few songs, then left the stage without much notice. The fair maiden was curious about the duet, but she asked the waitress nearby whether they performed regularly here, and she said that they did. The waitress noticed that the fair maiden enjoyed their performance, so she told her that they always hanged out in the back of the tavern jamming. They were looking for another member, since the singer felt it was tiring to sing while dancing. The waitress thus introduced the fair maiden to the duet, who instantly remembered her as the one who had sang along to one of their songs. They asked her if she was there for the audition for the part in the group. Truthfully, the fair maiden told of her situation where she had woken up in a cave and wasn't sure how she got there. The singer and the instrumentalist puzzled over her conundrum but couldn't offer much help. The singer told the fair maiden that they themselves were staying at a monastery and weren't really allowed to leave at night like they were doing right now, and had to sneak out when everyone was asleep. The singer wasn't too sure how to properly be a member of the monastery since she had been there as long as she could remember, while the instrumentalist said the men who came were mostly refugees who ran away from their war-torn homes. They were also probably there because they were conscripted for the army but fled. The duet were similar in a way that they never met their parents, but both of them had wealthy but mysterious patrons who paid for their stay at the monastery. The instrumentalist and the singer then started talking in a foreign language that the fair maiden could understand. It sounded similar to the accent the monk that they had used. They continued the discussion in this language for a while before coming to some sort of agreement, then gave the fair maiden two choices. Did she prefer pretending to be a man like Mulan and join the monastery that way, since they accepted men easier, or would she rather stay alone at a cabin in the woods by herself? She had to decide, and the decision